What's up, guys? It's your boy Vance, aka Gain City, and I'm back with another video. And today, we're gonna be talking about failure, man. Y'all don't realize, man, there's a lot of people out here that's scared to fail, at like a goal of theirs, but they don't realize not doing nothing, you're already failing. It's equivalent to failing. How can you be scared of failing something that you're, not doing anything? You're already failing. So you're already failing. Each day that goes by that, you're not doing that goal or dream of yours, you're failing. You're failing yourself. It's hard for people to accept that. They just kind of make excuses because it sounds best to them. Like they say, excuses sound best to those who make them. That's it. Because at the end of the day, excuses are excuses, man. Like I said, I've seen some people that went through some crazy stuff, came out of it and accomplished whatever their goals and dreams were. That's why I always tell people, whatever that you think is impossible is possible. You only think that because you have excuses, you have other average people, in your mind. You have all of these sayings that average people have made and changed over the years, and you think that that's a fact when it's not at all. Like I said, that one, the one I was talking about with the whole money came by your happiness. People get that mess wrong because they're too busy looking at money. They're looking at material stuff. That's not what that's talking about. At the end of the day, all I'm saying is financial freedom, that opens the door to a lot of stuff. Living debt free, doing all this stuff, that's awesome. I'm not saying, I didn't say money is everything. Money is, buys happiness, that's everything. Like, no, there's other forms. It's just another form of it. But the thing that people don't realize is that saying came from people that has been average, that never been wealthy, that's never so how can you speak on something you'd have no experience on? And that's the thing that's wrong with people. It's kind of like too, when people say, you have to fall back on something, that's one of the Denzel Washington's ones where he was like, no, I'd rather fall forward because now you at least see where you're going. And it opens your eyes up, because it's like, yeah, why fall back on something? You don't know where you're going. Yeah, man, technically speaking, you don't know where you're going when you fall back. You should want to fall forward because you know where you're going, And it's like, too, you have to take risks, man. When it comes to this life, living comfortable, and it's a slow, you living comfortable is a slow, you're dying really slow. It's a really slow death. Rather than taking risks and going after what you want to go after, make life more, make life happier, for you, and not only for you, but your family. You can create that environment, that lifestyle that you want, that, that image of yourself, that, your character. You build all of that through taking risks, taking actions on things that you want to do in life. It's one of those things where it's like, why, be mediocre and stuff and just live a regular old job when you can do something extraordinary and be talked about. Can be, people when your name come up in the conversation, everybody's like smiling and it's cool and all that. It's like one of those things where, rather than people just talk about you, you up there as far as like, helping people out when your name can become a solution to like a problem, stuff like that. That's a crazy, that's a really good feeling, because like even with me, the amount of people I've helped, save their lives and stuff like that. That's, with me, it's a lot of things that people don't understand. Because like I said, it goes back to my other videos. They're not experiencing what I'm doing. They're not doing what I'm doing. They're just looking at it from a view. They think I just make some videos and work out. That's not even half of what I do. Not even half. They don't realize that, like me, I've helped people, relationships. And it's funny too how like I've helped a lot of like older people, but I respect them so much more because they put their pride to the, they left their pride at the door. Like, oh, I'm older than you, I'm not listening to you, because that's common. A lot of average people do that. But it's like, at the end of the day, if you need help, if you realize that what the person is saying is legit, because like I said, that's the thing I am all about. I'm all about that mindset. I don't care about your, I don't care at all actually about material stuff. You got a big mansion, you're a millionaire and all that. That's cool, but what is that mind? That mind is what's valuable, man. Material, cars and all that stuff, houses, all that stuff can be taken like that. It's all material stuff. How does that person think? What do they go through under pressure? When they hit rock bottom, what do? When they hit the top, what do they do? Like that's what's, that's all about that action and how they think. That's the thing that people, like when it comes to like, concerts and stuff, they'd rather go to like a concert or like a, just something that's, in my opinion, a waste of time. You're not doing nothing productive when it comes to, or you can go to like at least like a conference or like a, event where there's like motivational speakers or something that you can learn from, someone teaching you things. It's good to keep learning, becoming better, keep working on that mindset, because that's what's actual valuable, is that mindset. It's how you think. If you think that all because somebody got a, like say a Bugatti or, whatever, like, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter at all, man. It's all about how does that person think, because all that stuff's going to come if they have a really good mindset, a good work ethic, staying consistent, disciplined, going after something bigger than themselves, actually accomplishing it. Like I said, taking action, not making excuses and listening to average people, and not, dwelling on what looks showing, what's, like living in the moment. No, you need to look in the future. You need to look at what's going on right now and in the future. What happened in the past is in the past. Move on. The only way I would say look in the past is if it's something that you will take and learn from it, rather than that is your life. Don't do that. You have a lot of people that's like, oh yeah, man, I could have been great, man, but I got, my back hurt. I got, bullcrap. Or they blame other people when it's like, at the end of the day, what is stopping you right now? I'm not saying you got to be the great or be how you were back then, but you can do something. You feel me? It's that trying to be better. If you're just sitting there stagnant, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. And the only way to not fail is to keep trying. It's like what I was saying in one of my other videos, checkpoints. Each time you fail is just a checkpoint. You're at a different spot, you learn, recock, and you try again. Like I said, you fail, retry again. Fail, you retry again. You keep retrying. That's the thing. You learn from it and you retry. It's not the end of your story at all. It's only the end of your story if you allow it to be the end of your story. If you make it the end of your story. So at the end of the day, man, you have to be able to overcome that failure. Because failure is temporary if you allow it to be temporary. Failure can be permanent, but it's up to you. It's up to you on if you make it permanent or a temporary thing. It's something that everybody's going to have to go through, especially if you're going, honestly, I can't even say if you're going through just great things. Like, you're going to go through that in life, whether you're living a regular old life or not, failure is going to happen. You're going to fail at something, you're going to, but it's up to you to make it either a permanent thing or a temporary thing. And I really hope that you pick that temporary thing, because that's what all that stuff can be. Even if it takes you years to overcome it, you're still trying to be better. At the end of the day, I just want you to keep moving forward and not get stuck in the past, not get stuck behind, not get passed by everybody else that is doing great things, because they're not making excuses for other people. It's like one of them things where it's like, how can you get better at something, at failure and stuff, if you're bull crapping, if you're lollygagging, you're not doing productive things, it's like, yeah, you kind of just accepted defeat rather than still learning what you failed at, what are the things that you can do to get better. And that's only something that you can answer. The answer. Everybody pretty much knows the answer. And if you don't, go get the help. Go actually ask, and get the help, or seek, do your research, do this and do that, rather than just like, oh yeah, I lost, I failed, I'm done. There is no coming back. No, bro, there is. You just don't believe that. Like I said, man, it's one of them things where I always tell people, God, or whatever you believe in, it gives you another day. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do in that day? What are the actions and the stuff that the measures you're going to take to make sure what you want to do in life happens? Are you just going to keep blaming other people? Keep blaming failure, keep, blaming failure in the sense of that is it, you can't be better? Or are you going to succeed and get past that, learn from it? Like I said, if you fail, one of them fails, you're going to win. You're eventually going to win. You have to stay consistent. Like I said, use that discipline and get better. And remember, never stay satisfied. And I'll see you on the next video.